There's a pattern that separates winners from victims in the trust game, and it's this: forgiveness doesn't erase betrayal, it just gives it a second shot. Here's what nobody tells you: when someone stabs you in the back once, they've already shown you their playbook. The question isn't whether they'll do it again, it's when. And if you're still holding the door open for people who already burned your house down, stick around until the end. You're about to see why that's costing you everything. What happens to your brain when trust gets broken? Let me hit you with something that's going to make you uncomfortable. Your brain is better at detecting betrayal than you think. And when you override that instinct, you're literally fighting against millions of years of evolution. Here's why that matters. There's this thing in evolutionary psychology called cheater detection theory. Researchers found that humans developed a specific cognitive module just to spot people who break social contracts. It's not conscious, it's hardwired. And when someone betrays you, your brain doesn't file it under bad day. It files it under threat to survival. That's serious business. Now, here's where it gets interesting. In the intelligence community, there's a protocol called burn notice. When an operative gets compromised, they're done. No appeals, no second chances. No, but we've worked together for years. Because intelligence agencies understand something brutal: the cost of one mistake is higher than the value of 100 successes. And your life? It operates on the same math. Think about it. When someone betrays you, they've revealed something fundamental about their character, not their situation, not their stress level, their character. Because here's the truth that stings: good people don't betray you when things get hard. They communicate, they set boundaries, they leave if they need to, but they don't betray. Betrayal isn't a mistake, it's a choice, and choices reveal values. Here's what blows my mind: we have better security systems for our phones than for our relationships. Your phone locks after 3 wrong attempts. But in your life, someone can violate your trust, and you'll give them attempt number 4, 5, 6. You wouldn't let a stranger keep trying passwords on your device, but you'll let someone who already broke and try again with your heart. In competitive sports, coaches have a saying: the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. That's not cynicism, that's pattern recognition. And when you ignore patterns because you want to believe people change, you're not being optimistic, you're being willfully blind. So here's the bottom line: your brain is trying to protect you, and when you silence that protection for the sake of being the bigger person, you're not rising above. You're setting yourself up for round 2. How forgiveness became the most dangerous advice. Let's talk about something controversial. Forgiveness culture is ruining people's lives. And I'm not talking about forgiveness as an internal process. I'm talking about the toxic idea that forgiving someone means giving them access again. Those are not the same thing. And confusing them, that's where people lose everything. Here's a wild example from the corporate world. Private equity firms have a concept called due diligence. Before they invest in a company, they investigate everything. And you know what's an automatic deal breaker? A history of fraud. Doesn't matter if it was 10 years ago. Doesn't matter if the person apologized. Pattern detected. Deal canceled. Why? Because past behavior is the most expensive data point you can ignore. But in personal life, we're trained differently. Someone betrays us, and suddenly everyone around us becomes a forgiveness evangelist. You have to forgive. Holding grudges will eat you alive. Give them another chance, and you know what? That advice is killing your potential for high performance. Because high performers don't optimize for forgiveness. They optimize for excellence. And excellence requires ruthless filtering. Let me give you a framework from risk management. In financial markets, there's something called maximum acceptable loss. Before traders enter a position, they decide, if this goes wrong, this is the most I'm willing to lose. And when that number hits, they exit. No emotions. No, but it might turn around. They cut the loss and move on. Now apply that to relationships. What's your maximum acceptable betrayal? Because if you don't have that number, you're trading without a stop loss. And that's how people blow up their entire emotional portfolio. Right now, define your non-negotiables. Not what you hope people won't do, what you will absolutely not tolerate even once. Write them down, because if you don't set the standard, other people will set it for you. And their standard? It's always lower than yours. Here's what forgiveness actually means: releasing the emotional weight so it doesn't poison you. That's internal work. That's healing. But reintegration? That's external strategy. And strategy requires that you honor what someone showed you the first time. Because when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Why? Your loyalty is actually self-destruction. Here's a mirror moment: you might not be loyal. You might just be afraid of starting over. And there's a massive difference between those two things. Because real loyalty protects what matters. Fake loyalty protects what's familiar. And familiar? That's the comfort zone where dreams go to die. Let me take you inside professional chess for a second. Grandmasters have this ability called pattern recognition on steroids. They can look at a board and instantly know if a position is winning or losing. Not because they calculate every move, because they've seen the pattern before. And here's the key: when they recognize a losing position, they don't keep playing it out of loyalty to their previous moves. They resign. They cut their losses. They move to the next game. But in life, we do the opposite. We stay in losing positions because we've invested time. We tolerate betrayal because leaving feels like admitting we were wrong. And that, my friend, is how average people stay average. Because they're more committed to protecting their ego than protecting their future. There's a concept in behavioral economics called escalation of commitment. It's when people continue investing in a failing course of action just because they've already invested in it. It's why companies throw good money after bad. It's why countries stay in unwinnable wars. And it's why you're still giving chances to someone who already showed you they don't value what you bring. Powerful action step: do an audit today. Look at every relationship in your life where trust was broken. Ask yourself, am I here because it's good for me, or because I'm afraid of what leaving says about my judgment? Because here's the hard truth: staying in a toxic situation doesn't prove you were right to trust them. It proves you're wrong to trust yourself. In high-stakes poker, there's a term, pot committed. It's when you've put so much money in the pot that you feel like you have to see it through, in with a bad hand. But the best players know previous bets are gone. The only question that matters is, with the information I have now, is this the right play? And if the answer is no, they fold. Even if they're pot committed. Drop the word clarity in the comments if this hits you. If you've been confusing loyalty with fear, hit that like button and subscribe. Because high performance isn't about never making mistakes, it's about never making the same one twice. How elite performers build bulletproof boundaries. So maybe you're thinking, this sounds cold. This sounds harsh. Am I supposed to never trust anyone? And the answer is, you trust strategically. You trust with conditions. You trust with consequences. Because unconditional trust isn't love. It's naivety dressed up as virtue. Let me show you how the best do it. In cybersecurity, there's a principle called zero trust architecture. It means, verify everything, trust nothing by default, and constantly validate. Even authorized users get checked. Even systems that worked yesterday get scanned today. Because in security, assuming something is safe is how you get hacked. And in life, assuming someone won't betray you again is how you get destroyed. But here's where people get it wrong. Zero trust doesn't mean zero connection. It means zero tolerance for threats. You can still be warm. You can still be open. You can still be vulnerable. But you're vulnerable with people who've earned it. And the people who've already proven they'll exploit that vulnerability, they're out. Not because you're cold. Because you're smart. Think about Olympic athletes. They have strict protocols about who gets access to them during competition season. Not everyone gets in. Not everyone gets their time. Not everyone gets their energy. Why? Because at that level, every input matters. And toxic inputs, even from people they used to trust, can destroy years of preparation. They're not being divas. They're being disciplined. Create what I call your inner circle reset. List the people who currently have full access to you, your time, your trust, your vulnerability. Now ask, if I met this person today, knowing what I know now, would I let them in? If the answer is no, It's time for a boundary adjustment. Not drama, not confrontation, just strategic distance. Here's the final piece. Boundaries aren't walls. They're filters. And the highest performers in any field, sports, business, relationships, life, are masters of filtration. They know who gets in and who stays out. And they don't feel guilty about it, because guilt is what weak boundaries feel like. So let me leave you with this. Forgiveness is for you, but access, that's earned. And once it's lost, it's gone. Not because you're unforgiving, because you're unbreakable. And unbreakable people don't give second chances to first offenders. They move forward with people who never needed a second chance in the first place. If you made it to the end, comment unbreakable, because now you understand. High performance isn't about being perfect, it's about being selective. Smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because this rule right here, it separates leaders from followers, winners from victims, and people who thrive from people who just survive. This content is for informational and motivational purposes, focused on personal development and high performance. The strategies presented are based on behavioral analysis and historical contexts. Every situation is unique, and for specific cases involving complex emotional issues, we recommend seeking guidance from qualified professionals.